Hi, my name is Jillian Gotchling. My PowerPoint will be covering job simulation training, and this involves teaching employment skills to adults with autism. This is part 1 of our presentation. Autism spectrum disorder refers to a complex group of neurodevelopmental disorders. These disorders are characterized by restrictive, repetitive behavior, impairments in social interaction, and also impairments in language by the DSM-5. Teaching strategies may be used to help adults with autism function more independently across multiple settings. Several teaching strategies have been developed to help adults become more independent. The teaching strategy I will be discussing is also called job simulation training. Job simulation takes place in an adult education program center when the student is not on the job site. Common stimuli with the job site are also in the station. The sessions are typically 30 minutes long and can range from 1 to even 5 or 6 trials per day of intensive teaching. The training is led by a job coach. It is typically seen that the same job coach who conducted job site probe sessions conducts intensive teaching sessions that are off-site. Task materials are used at the job site, but also are taken to the adult education building to use in the intensive teaching sessions. Who could benefit from job simulation training would be individuals with learning deficits. Our target for our project was mild to severe range of individuals. Additionally, our project targeted that adults could benefit from this form of teaching. Adults with autism was our target, 18 to 30 years of age. Additionally, employers of students learning the skills for the vocational training could benefit, and less on-the-job training would be necessary since they would be learning these skills off-site. And lastly, schools and centers that teach the vocational skills would also benefit, and they would see a higher form of progress from the teaching strategies after implementation. The authors Lattimore, Parsons, and Reed in 2009 conducted a study, and their study concluded this article that was displayed in the Behavior Analysis and Practice Journal. It was titled Rapid Training of Community Job Skill to Non-Vocal Adults with Autism, an extension of intensive teaching that resulted that adults with autism spectrum disorder from mild to severe acquire work skills more quickly if on-the-job training is supplemented with simulation training in another location. Additionally, it is also proved from these authors that if the simulation training is used with workers before beginning a new job task or another job, that it can enhance work performance when the duties are initiated at the job site and can resolve a common problem of expected job duties not being completed or not knowing how to be completed. The simulation training studied that it had been proved to work best with a session that was around 30 minutes long, distributed across a number of days, and that it was encompassed from 1 to 4 weeks per individual and job skill training. A few examples of simulation centers would be like a few examples below that are of admin areas that have computers, they have a desktop, they have filing centers, they have maybe printers and fax machines that help with learning those kind of skills. There's also another picture you can see there of students learning to cook and maybe take orders, learn how to do food service. And then I also found another example there that was one of my favorites. It was of a school that had a coffee shop, and there is students working there making drinks, learning how to do the checkout and card transactions or money transactions. And those are just a few examples of simulation centers and job simulation teaching. Right here we have a data taking sheet for job simulation training. It is a material that would be necessary for the job coaches to contribute to and fill out mostly every day. It includes the student's name, the date and the length of the session time, the employment type the student is working towards, the skill that was targeted during the session, the prompts needed for completion, if the skill is mastered or if progress was seen compared to previous sessions, and the next target that will be implemented after the mastery of the current skill that was being worked on. Below, you see the prompting keys that would be used to fill in for the prompts needed for completion. Other materials needed for implementation, besides a task analysis data taking procedure, are a job coach knowledgeable of job duties and job expectations of the individual with autism, a selection of a job or an employment that is either part-time or full-time for a selection of job tasks to implement during treatment, and additionally a simulation center with job materials or some job materials to learn the tactics and skills that will be conducted in the real job setting. How to implement job simulation training can occur by using these steps. First, the task or job is initiated by the job coach by placing work materials on the table or in the worker's view and providing a cue, usually verbal, to begin work. Next, it is important to note that most of these prompting strategies are used in this form of teaching, including physical, partially physical, gestural, and verbal prompts. Next, it's also important to note that the skill must be learned mostly by prompting. So it may be needed physical prompting in the beginning, and in physical prompting, the job coach can guide the worker's hands through the movements that are necessary for completion of the steps or steps to complete the tasks. As the worker is beginning to correctly initiate a step without physical assistance by the coach, physical guidance can be diminished to partial physical guidance. Next, partial physical guidance involves a coach placing his hands on the worker's arms, such as that the worker's movements necessary to complete the steps are guided by the coach but not fully physically implemented. After this prompt is faded, shadowing is involved. And what shadowing is the job coach keeps their hands within 9 centimeters of the worker's arms throughout the worker's movements. The prompts of this job movement is intended to immediately interrupt and use errorless learning or errors correction for the worker to correct any incorrect actions, and this also may prevent steps that could be completed incorrectly. After shadowing is faded, next prompts use our vocal and gestural to allow the worker to become more independent in conducting the job skill learned. After and during these procedures, a total task procedure data collection is used to record the assessment of the job learning. Prompts are recorded accordingly to what was used, and the job worker or job coach can diminish the prompts as